Hello everyone, welcome back to the Thrustmaster channel, and today we are back with F1 Airways. This week the F1 race is at Ricard in the south of France, close to Monaco and Marseille. So something a bit more different. We're going to do a bit more guide this time. We're going to do some local landmarks, and then we're going to take a flight over from Marseille here, over to the sea, over to the Plania Light, which is the 12th tallest traditional lighthouse in the world, over to Marseille, have a couple of look at the landmarks there, and then a flight over to Ricard and try and land on the home finish straight. So taking off here, heading south over towards Marseille and just to see to the outside of Marseille, where we'll go and have a look at the lighthouse. So it is a bit of a trip, about a 10-minute flight. I'm not going to bore you with that straight flight, so I'll skip right through to the lighthouse. So how easy is that? If only life was as simple as just teleport to where you want to go. So we are by the Plania Lights, which is 8 miles south of Marseille, right in the ocean. It is an island all by itself. It's only accessible by boat, and both the site and the tower are closed to the public. It was originally built in 1320 as a traditional lighthouse that was burnt on vegetable oil. There were 2 teams of 2 that rotated every month to keep the lighthouse going. It's been destroyed, revamped about 5 times now, latest one being in August 1944 when all towers were destroyed, and then it's been rebuilt in 1959 and was designed by Arbus and Krillin. There are 3 drafts, and this is now the current one. So now it runs on mercury lights, I believe, and it flashes every 5 seconds and is easily maintained, but I think it looks great. This is one of the landmarks which has been properly drawn up. It's not done by satellite pictures. They've specifically designed it to be in the game. That's why I've included it. Doing a nice flyby, and I can tell you now that's exactly what it looks like. I might even put a picture in it just for reference so you can see. But even the island and everything, all the buildings with it, have been specifically drawn. So a nice little couple of flybys, and then what we'll do is, as we come back round, we'll head back north up to Marseille, and there's a couple of nice features there that I want to show you, and then we'll head over to Ricard. So we've just come into the coast of Marseille, and up ahead we have the Stade Velodrome, which is where Marseille play in Ligue 1 in France. It's also the French rugby national team stadium they use, and also Toulon, which is the better sport for me rugby as I play it myself. It is the largest club football ground in France with a capacity of over 67,000 spectators. Again, I've picked this one because Microsoft and Asobi Studios have decided to draw this one out. So I thought, let's have a look. They spent so much time designing it. Again, I'll put a picture up and we'll see how real or realistic it is. As you can see, it's done pretty well. It looks good, even to the having the football stadium actually in it, which I thought was a nice little touch, because they could have left that pretty blank, pretty basic, but it looks really good from the sky. So I've enjoyed that one. And moving on just back south towards, we are now heading towards the Notre Dame de la Garde. So it's the Catholic Basilica in Marseille. It's the city's best known symbol. If you've been to Marseille, I've no doubt you've been and visited this. It's at the highest point of Marseille. Again, I've picked this because they've meticulously drawn it into the game. So they spent a lot of time on, so let's spend some time having a look at what they've been doing. So this is been in this city since 1852. It's a medieval chapel. It took them 21 years to build on that hill. I can't imagine how long it took to get even the materials up there, but it looks great. If I'm ever in Marseille, I'm definitely going to visit because I like that sort of stuff. Done a really good job, especially on that hill, as I try not to crash into a little canyon in between. But that's Marseille basically. As we leave the Basilica behind, we're now going to head up over towards those mountains. You can imagine it's going to get pretty bumpy. We've got live weather on, it's pretty windy today. It's a bit turbulent, but what I'll do is I'll flight myself and I'll see you over at Paul Ricard, where we'll talk about the circuit and try and land on that home finish straight. So, just coming up on the circuit now, circuit Paul Ricard is a track built in 1969 at Le Castellet in Var, near to Marseille, which obviously we've been across. It was financed by pastis magnate Paul Ricard. Now, pastis is a type of aperitif in France. And then in 1975, it made another company, which you're probably aware of, is Pernod Ricard. And Pernod is obviously a very, very famous, well-known drink. So that's why it's called Circuit Paul Ricard. Built in 1969, it did host the F1 for the first few years to 83, then stopped, then back to 85 to 90, and then it's only been back on the F1 circuit from 2018. It's not a very popular track. People don't like the circuit. It's obviously very flat, as you can see. It's next to an airport where obviously everyone lands in and all the private planes go into. But I think it looks great from the air, just due to the fact of the blues and reds. Obviously in the French colours, there's loads and loads of different configurations for the track. It's used a lot in motorbike sport and other endurance sports, the WEC, etc. But F1, it does produce, I think it's great to probably race at if you were the actual driver. So obviously I've done it on sims, and it's good to race at because it's a technical circuit and you've got to be really focused on where you're placing your car, etc., because there's a lot of twisting and turning. But for overtaking and actual racing, it's probably not the best, or the best to kind of be a spectator at, I suppose, because it's in lovely scenery, but the track is probably not somewhere like Spa or Monaco. But anyway, it's on the circuit, so that's why we're flying here today. We're going to take a nice trip round, give you some nice views from the air, and then we'll try and land on that home finish straight. I know there's an airport there, but I want to make it difficult for myself and land on the home finish straight, which is just at the top of the screen you can see now. But I think compared to Baku, which was just still the city, I think actually Microsoft have done a good job of actually picturing this one. I know they haven't drawn it, they've done it from satellite photogrammetry, but it looks really good. It's probably true to what it's supposed to look like. But what we'll do is we'll spin round down to the left. We're now on our base leg. We'll do a crosswing leg, and then we'll fly down to spin round and try and land it. So let me know what you think of this circuit. It's not one of my favourites. It's not something I look forward to watching, but some F1 drivers seem to like it. Obviously it's quite near to Monaco, so it's not a short trip for a lot of the F1 drivers in terms of travelling, because a lot of them live there now, the tax haven that is Monaco. So it's just a short trip down the coast to Marseille. I could probably say they probably fly there in their own helicopters or little private planes they've got themselves, rather than the big jumbos they usually take. But here we go. So we're just going to nice and low over the trees. I'm going to slow this plane down, come round to the left, engage the flaps, and then try and land next to the pit stalls, hopefully, which I think are probably quite well modelled, but the stands aren't usually. That's how it usually works in this one, but they do a better job of doing the trees and the actual ground, or they rather do the actual circuit. So obviously the trees are more like placed in as you come down. There's the home straight ahead, just over that little island of trees in the middle. Aim the plane up, get him nice and level, flaps are out, down. Gear's already down because it already is. I'm just going to take a nice slow drift in, probably coming a little bit too quick. I could probably say the wind's behind me at this point. But just drop it down, try not to touch the trees, and then just let it float down. Give it a bit of a flare at the end, and cut the engine, and just let it drop down. Coming in quite quick, a bit bumpy, but we're down. Hit the brakes, and here we are. This is the main finish straight. Obviously the track's not well done, but there's the garages. There's the pit garages. Stand's supposed to be to the right there. It's probably the VIP paddock. Doesn't look very VIP, but there's the pits, which have done quite well, to be fair. So let me know what you think of that. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to carry on with these Hopefully we get some, we've got Spa and Austria, Red Bull Ring, everything else like that coming up. So we've got some good tracks coming up. Have a good week, enjoy the F1. Thanks for your support as always. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you again soon. Cheers.